Each year in November, you may have seen a parade like this in your hometown or on TV. Do you know why? This is a Veterans Day parade. Veterans Day is a day to honor those who serve or have served in America's military and to celebrate patriotism, which is someone's love for their country. But what's the story behind Veterans Day? Why do we celebrate it each November? Veterans Day began as a commemoration of the end of World War I, also known as the Great War, or the War to End All Wars. It began in 1914 in Europe. Eventually, other countries, including the United States, joined in to support their allies, the United Kingdom, France, and Russia. During the years of World War I, the United States sent more than 1 million soldiers to Europe. More than 4 years after the war first began, both sides agreed on an armistice, which is another word for truce. The signing of this agreement meant that the fighting would stop. So, at 11 a.m. on November 11, 1918, the guns went silent. This was the moment that World War I ended. Because of this, November 11th became known as Armistice Day. In 1954, Congress changed the name of Armistice Day to Veterans Day, making it a day to recognize and honor all Americans who had served in the U.S. military, not only those who had fought in World War I. Now, you might notice that the truce began at the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month. This is why every year at 11 a.m. on November 11th, many countries around the world pause for 1 or 2 minutes of silence to remember those who have served their country in war. In the United States, people across the country are encouraged to observe 2 minutes of silence at 2:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Each year, on November 11th, the Veterans Day National Ceremony is held at the Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia. During this ceremony, the President lays a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier to pay respect to those who fought and died for their country. Veterans Day is also a day to thank living veterans for their service and to acknowledge their sacrifices and contributions. Across the United States, many communities hold parades on Veterans Day itself or the weekend before it. This is a tradition that dates all the way back to 1947. There are many ways to participate in Veterans Day celebrations with your school or community. How will you celebrate Veterans Day this year?
Okay, Mr. Davis. So, first question I want to ask you is, why did you join the Army or the military, and what inspired you to join and take time out of your life to be in the military?
I joined the Marine Corps out of high school because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. My dad was in the Marines, and I thought, I knew the Marines were tough, and I thought it would toughen me up.
Okay. Second question is, what was one thing about the military that surprised you?
One thing that surprised me, I guess, a lot of long hours. It's not a 9 to 5 job or 7 to 4. Sometimes you're all day, all night, nonstop for days on end.
Yes, sir.
And I wasn't really expecting that.
Okay, yes, sir. Third question is, what is one memory that stands out to most of you from your service in the military?
As a young man, I got to travel all over the world, and that's not an opportunity I would have had otherwise. And so just being able to travel really stands out.
Okay, yes, sir. And the last question is, what aspect of the military do you align with the most?
I guess one of the things that they taught us was leadership, dependability, integrity, I try to be a pretty honest person. I try to be on time. Just be an all-around good person. Help people when they need it.
Okay, yes, sir. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you for taking time out of your day to answer these questions for us.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm Cadet First Sergeant Tippins, and I'm interviewing Dr. Martin. Why did you join the military? What inspired you to join the military?
I joined the military because I didn't know what educational opportunities I had available for me at that time coming out of high school. I just knew I didn't want to stay in state school forever. What was the second?
What inspired you to join the military?
What inspired me to join was joining the Marine Corps, just hearing about the hard work, the challenging moments of being a Marine. So I figured if I'm going to join the branch of the military, I'm going to join what was seemed to be the best branch of the military.
What was one thing about military life that surprised you?
The diversity in jobs and the amount of travel that I was able to do at 18 years old.
What's one memory that stands out the most from your service?
One memory that stand out the most, the friendships with all my Marine buddies and other branch members from traveling to all the other bases during my service time.
What aspect of the military do you like the most?
What aspect do I like the most? Probably the free travel. Getting to experience a lot of things that people that stay within states or Iredell County don't get to experience when they get a job. They may get a job here and they'll stay here and they'll work that job for 10, 15, 20 years. In the military, you may have a job, but you don't get to travel with that job.
Anything else you would like to share?
Go Greyhounds.
Thank you.
All right.
Did you? I'm with Mr. Frost for the Veterans Day ceremony questions. Why did you join the military? What inspired you to join the military?
I got a lot of friends and family that are in the military, and so after college it was something I wanted to do and kind of branch out and try something new, learn some good experiences.
What was one thing about the military life that surprised you?
Really just like, how like, not how structured, but like how, repetitive, how, you get in a routine, you understand, you got to do this, you know what to wear, you got to do this by this time. So really that was the biggest thing to get used to, was the structure and organization.
What's one memory that stands out the most from your service?
Really, it would be about this time last year. I got called up to the mountains when the hurricane hit, so I helped out up in the mountains up in Waynesville for about 2 weeks, helping the residents up there after Hurricane Helene hit.
What aspect of the military do you like the most?
I like, just the people I'm with. My unit, we're based out of Wilmington, so we always have fun. We're an infantry unit, so we get to do cool things like drive tanks around, do some other cool stuff.
Anything else you'd like to say?
No, just really, something I've enjoyed. I've been in for about 4 years now. Plan on re-enlisting in about 2-3 years from now, so it's something I'd like to continue, and if that's something you want to do after high school, highly encourage it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it.
I'm with Mr. Spear for the Veterans Day ceremony questions. Why did you join the military? What inspired you to join the military?
I joined the military when I didn't do so well in college when I first went, realizing that when I finally did enlist, that it was something that I probably should have done right out of high school. I wasn't ready to go to college. I needed to grow up and mature. My inspiration were my grandfathers, who both served in World War II, and I grew up at their knee listening to their stories, and just always been fascinated with all things in the military. A lot of that was because I also grew up in Fayetteville. A lot of the kids I went to elementary school with, their fathers were all in the 82nd Airborne. So it's just always something I'd been fascinated with, and should have done it a lot sooner than I did.
What was one thing about the military life that surprised you?
The amount of diversity that I saw in the very first time really in my life. I grew up a Catholic, living in the South, going to Catholic schools, and I was only around other kids that were basically just like me. And so it really was an eye-opening experience when I got to basic training to see how many different people, kinds of people that there were, and then throughout my career, the 9 years that I served, both active and in the Guard, the people from all walks of life of the country that were a part of it, all pulling towards one goal.
What's one memory that stands out the most from your service?
I went temporary duty to Kinshasa, Zaire, which is now the Democratic Republic of the Congo. There was civil unrest. Zaire used to be a Belgian colony, and the Belgian colonial powers mistreated, to put it politely, the Africans that lived there. They were very brutal colonial masters, and even as late as the late 90s, well, I mean, they're still undergoing civil strife today, but we had to fly in, set up an advanced airfield so that we could ferry French and Belgian paratroopers into Kinshasa to help them evacuate foreign nationals. And it was my really only experience being in any kind of a wartime scenario the entire time that I was in, and for the couple of weeks that I was there, and to see the brutality that people can inflict on one another was staggering.
What aspect of the military do you like the most?
I miss the discipline. I miss the camaraderie. The sense of teamwork. I had a lot of good friends. I really enjoyed the work that I did. The only really true regret that I have was leaving the Air National Guard. I wish that at the very least I would have stayed with that. Hindsight being what it was, I would have been better off to have served as long as I could have active duty. But when you're young, you don't think about things like that. But I mean, that's what I missed the most. It was a lot of fun.
Would you like to say anything else? Thank you for your time.